And now you fast forward to Saturday, and the whole fake peace narrative started collapsing in public. Britain's foreign secretary said there was still not normal passage through the Strait of Hormuz. Iran's Revolutionary Guard said only a limited number of tankers would be managed through the waterway, and that the strait would remain under strict Iranian control, meaning, hey, we'll let Chinese through, we'll let Russian ships through, not U.S. The U.S. did not ensure full freedom of navigation from Iranian-linked shipping as well. So this is not what open looks like. That is what leverage looks like. And then things got worse, because at least two merchant vessels said they were hit by gunfire while attempting to cross yesterday. To just try to make it through, boom. Then we got confirmation that two Indian-flagged ships also came under heavy attack while trying to cross through the strait. So the same weekend where we were lied to, told that this thing had stabilized, ships were being shot at in one of the most important waterways on Earth. Now, Iranian Professor Morandi was on our friend Colonel Daniel Davis's show and said that Trump was lying the whole time and made the whole thing up.
Which he is. That Iran agreed to this, Iran agreed to that, which is all nonsense. So that perhaps that in 3 or 4 days he can say Iran promised all these things, but now they've refused to abide by their commitments, non-existent commitments. You get what I'm saying? So yeah. He's saying that the Iranians have agreed to A, B, C, D, E, and F. And then in 2 or 3 days he said they promised all these things, which they didn't, but they're not doing them. So what happens next? A military assault.
And then meanwhile, the blockade never went away. Since the United States imposed its blockade on Iranian ports and coastal areas, American forces have turned back at least 23 ships. Earlier in the week, the blockade involved more than 10,000 U.S. personnel, more than a dozen warships, dozens of aircraft. Vessels entering and departing the blockaded area were subject to interception, diversion, capture. That's not the architecture of peace, that is the architecture of escalation. And President Trump says the blockade is going to continue, so don't be fooled. Now comes the Wall Street Journal and their bombshell report that the U.S. military is preparing in the coming days to board Iranian-linked oil tankers and seize these commercial ships in international waters, using gunships to do it. Just imagine if that happens. American forces landing on board, seizing ships. You're one mistake, one misread radar contact away from a much bigger war. Yet an Iranian general went on TV on Saturday and said if this war starts again, which it likely will, this is going to become a wider world war. Oh, good. That's why Professor Robert Pape's warning matters so much here. So he posted this on April 12th. He says within 10 days, this turns into shortages, real shortages, not just higher prices, as the system moves from price shock to physical constraint, to outright economic contraction, a disaster. Now you remember, today is April 19th, meaning if his numbers are correct, we are heading for disaster in about 3 days. The strait has never been opened. So none of this has been flowing. So Pape's point still sits, 3 days. And the Financial Times just published this big-ass story yesterday about the coming global food crisis because of this war. We are not ready for what's coming. We are going to face a disaster the likes of which we've never seen before. If Hormuz does not genuinely normalize, that means trouble for everything built on top of that shipping flow. Fuel, plastics, fertilizer, supply chains, food prices, manufacturing, all of it. It's not some faraway conflict that only matters to Fox News junkies. This can hit every family who's watching this right now in the wallet. So I hope you guys are preparing, making sure you have food stores in your house, preparing and protecting your family. Because here we are on this Sunday afternoon. The strait was never really opened. The market was fed a total fairy tale.
If you're turning 65 or beyond, you're going to want to watch this. There are a lot of people today that are Medicare eligible.
The market was fed a total fairy tale. Somebody made a lot of money off of it. Traders made gigantic bets just minutes before that headline hit. Ships are still being turned back. Ships are being fired upon. The U.S. is still enforcing its own blockade. And Iran says talks are not set. What? And now the U.S. is reportedly preparing to board and seize vessels in the days ahead. That's not de-escalation. This is a setup. This is a countdown. And if this thing blows up again in the coming week, the people who lied to you on Friday are going to pretend nobody could have seen it coming. but you can see it coming right now. Probably going to lie to us again in order to tamp down fears as we head into the weekends or market. I mean, just crazy. So that's the news update part of today's video. Now I want to tell you about today's news sponsor. And today in the current press